All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a look at the Vedder inside the waistband holster. I've been using it for over a year now and I really like it. In fact, the reason I'm doing this video is because I tried another holster from a different company, got it in the mail today, tried it out on a different pistol and just didn't like it at all and thought, I got to go back to Vedder. So I want to make sure everybody else is doing the same thing. This is made of Kydex and it's got a metal clip on it. Really like the metal clip. The one I just returned had a plastic one, did not give me a lot of confidence. Another thing that sets apart these Vedder ones is when you put this on your belt and you put your gun in it, you know your gun is secure. And I'll show you in a second what I mean by that. You're gonna hear the click and you're gonna have no doubt. I'll show you also just how well it holds it in there. A couple things. The only drawbacks I would say, they leave a little bit too much material for me down here. I think they could just shave off a little corner here perhaps, and then maybe take off a little bit more here. There's a lot down there when it's all crammed in there, especially when you go to sit down. It can be a little bit much. That's the only drawback. Otherwise, I'm really happy with it. Really nothing to complain about. And it's holding up pretty good. I mean, you can see a little bit of coloration, a little bit of scratches, just from using it every single day for a year, or more than a year. So let's check this out. It's got a lot of adjustability. I'm not gonna take it apart and show you everything. You can adjust right here the tension. I've got mine pretty tight, but you can adjust the tension right here with this screw, this bolt rather, and adjust the tension where it holds it right here. You'll see that in a second. There's a lot of adjustability. I mean, you can put the depth, you can set it high, or you can set your holster. Actually, the lower you put the bolt, the higher it's going to sit in your waistband. But I put mine right in the middle, and you can see I used to have the screw here for extra stability, but you know, I took it out. I kind of like the flexibility. You know, as it's sitting in your waistband, adjust to sitting down and standing up. Not a whole lot, and it doesn't really cause problems. You can see it wiggling the bolt right there, but I have to tighten it down maybe every couple months. I've only tightened it down a handful of times, and it really doesn't cause any problems. You know, some guys will argue you got to have a consistent draw every single time. You need to know exactly where you're going. Listen, if this much throws you off, you're doing something wrong. So I like the flexibility. I haven't had any trouble drawing it. As I practice, haven't had to use it for any real situation, but don't have any problems practicing with it. Anything else to point out here? You can see the detail. The mold's pretty good compared to some others I've seen. It looks really good. It feels really good. Now let's check it out. Got my gun here. You can see ain't nothing in it. And this is what sets them apart. All right, check this out. There's that click right there. You have no doubt your gun is secure in there. All right, try it again. Okay, no doubt. Now this is, I mean, I'm pushing pretty hard on this thing. There we go. And it finally came out. That was with no mag in it. Let's try it with a mag. Okay. Okay, really have to throw it down to get it out of there. Okay, I'm standing here now with a gun in my belt underneath just a regular, real thin, light t-shirt, nothing crazy. It ain't thick or anything, it ain't flannel. And you can see it conceals it pretty well. I mean, you're gonna be able to see it a little bit. Perhaps I can adjust a little better, sit it just like that, but I wear t-shirts like this all the time and never had any issues with it, especially if your posture's right. You know, if you're poking your big old fat belly out, everybody's gonna tell what you got. But I'm putting the focus right on here, and I mean, it's hard to tell. I mean, obviously you can't see it from this side. Even there, I mean, unless you're looking for it, you're not gonna know that's a gun right there. And as you're moving around, I mean, it conceals it pretty good. I had the claw in here at one point, but I took it off, and that would press it in even further perhaps, but I just haven't found it necessary. And it helps with my posture too, instead of like arching my back way back, you know, just standing naturally. I have no issues with it, no trouble, especially if this is a pretty revealing shirt, very thin, it reveals a lot of it, and it still hides pretty well. In terms of draw, you know, you just pull it out, it's right there, and nice and secure. And this isn't even a belt that I would recommend. I mean, I'm ordering one of the belts today. This is just a thin little dress belt, nothing fancy. And it goes right back in there. You hear that click again, no problems, it's back in there. So another draw right in there. Comes right out, hugs the belt really well. This is a very thin belt. Not ideal for everyday carry, but no problems. It doesn't come off the belt at all. Never had any issues with that. In fact, I've used some belts that are even less ideal, like a thin cotton adjustable one that you get at REI, and it hugs it nice and tight. Never had any issues. So another draw, and it just does great. Hangs right in there. Looks a little funny drawn up, weird angle, but drops right in there, nice and secure. No issues whatsoever. I'm really happy with it. I've had no problems, no issues, very little discomfort. You know, there are some other extremely high dollar ones that I'm curious about, but as for an everyday, for my first holster, this has been fantastic. So no complaints there, and I highly recommend it. Vedder Holsters out of Florida. You won't be disappointed.